Crop Talk on Market Journal is supported by Nebraska's soybean farmers and their checkoff. Finally today, it's time for a little crop talk. During the growing season, defoliation from leaf-eating insects is the most common type of soybean insect injury. But here's the good news. Soybean plants can often compensate for this defoliation. That's why it's crucial to understand the thresholds of economic impact when making pest management decisions. Market Journal's Bill Dodd is standing by with this story.
There are a complex of insects that defoliate soybeans here in Nebraska. Rarely does any single species reach population levels that will defoliate soybeans enough to cause economic damage. However, the combined injury of two or more defoliating insects can result in economic damage. On the other hand, many producers may end up overestimating the damage that has been done.
The big take-home message from the soybean defoliation exercise that we'll do today is that it's classically overestimated. And this is not just producers, crop scouts. Unless you've had a lot of training on recognizing how much leaf area really is missing, it's usually overestimated. In some of the preliminary runs that I've done with this fun 3D printed exercise, a lot of people are guessing 15 to 20% over what's actually missing. And that becomes a problem if you're overestimating. You might be spraying when you don't need to. Well, a lot of it depends on what you're spraying and how you're spraying. So someone that's running something through a center pivot and chemigating will eliminate some of those application costs. They also get water applied at the same time. So that's one way to cut it down. But if you're bringing either an airplane or a ground rig through, you have the cost of that application for that unit plus the chemical cost. So anywhere, depending on what it is and how you're doing it, anywhere from $5 an acre, easily up to $20-25 an acre.
So what is the proper threshold to start in on treatments for defoliating pests? That will all boil down to the leaf area index in your fields.
So what we're looking at in the vegetative stages is around 30%, but that really depends on how much canopy is there in the end. And then reproductive stages is around 20%. It really comes down, like I said, to that amount of canopy. So we call it leaf area index. So if you have a square foot of ground, you need at least 3.5 square feet of leaf area over that square foot of ground to effectively capture all the light from the sun that's falling on that square foot of ground. Some soybean varieties, when they're mature, will have easily 7 to 8 leaf area index. So if you're in that range, you can easily tolerate 50% defoliation and still be efficient at producing your crop.
Scouting your fields will be the first and best line of defense when dealing with defoliation. However, if you're unsure of the defoliation estimates, there are a number of tools available from Nebraska Extension that are designed to help you determine more accurate estimates.
The end game is just to understand that if you go it alone and just try and guess, you're going to overestimate. Use some of the tools that we have out there. We have a NEB guide on soybean defoliation. It has a set of 6 guide leaves in that publication that show you how much 50% really is, how much 5% is, how much 10% is. And so you can better train your eye and you have something to compare to really guess what is missing from the leaves you're looking at in the field. It comes down to scouting. Scout those fields. And understanding that some of those defoliators like the top level, some of them like the mid-level, some of them like the bottom level. And just because you see a lot of damage up in the top level, when we had the mass migration of painted lady butterflies a number of years ago, they were all up on top. So things would look really ratty up on top, but you start looking down into the canopy and it's fine. You have a lot of leaf area left. So that's one of the things you really need to pay attention to is where are they actually defoliating at? Is it the whole canopy or just part of it?
In short, defoliation is notoriously difficult to estimate and is almost always overestimated. However, different portions of the canopy will suffer different levels of injury, so it's very important to estimate the entire canopy and not just the injured portion. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Bill Dodd.